Well, as you know, the Lawson Foundation, you being part of the Lawson Foundation, has been presenting benefit concerts for many years to help people in the Helena community. And this event is to help Tavi in her struggle with Epstein's anomaly and the surgeries required to manage that condition.
Great. So there'll be a lot going on. Tavi, what can you tell us about your condition? Sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story. Starting back in 2006, I was 15, and I was just running in track practice at Capitol High. I told my friend I was dizzy and collapsed. Apparently my heart had stopped, and later that year, I was lucky to go into a seizure, which got my heart to start again. And we didn't really know why at the time, but later that year, I was diagnosed with Epstein's anomaly. It's a congenital heart condition, and one of my tricuspid valve, it leaks, which causes one of the chambers of my heart to be bigger than it should be, which makes an abnormal heartbeat. So that's kind of why I got all dizzy and collapsed. They treated that in Salt Lake City Children's Hospital with a cardioverter defibrillator, and that will kind of shock me and restart my heart rhythm if it happens to go really too fast or too slow, if that happens again. Luckily it hasn't yet, but it did that one time, so it's kind of a lifelong thing I got to deal with now.
While you were in Salt Lake, didn't they also find that you had a hole in your heart?
Yeah, they did, and they fixed that with, it's called an amplaster device, which is kind of just a surgical mesh. So the hole is fixed, but I'll always have that condition. So with that, it's been treated really well with this defibrillator, but it's a mechanical device, so you got to have that battery replaced every 5 years or so, which I did this last October in 2011, and that went well. It was a good surgery. And then I happened to get really sick this coming January in 2012, and if you have any foreign object in your body, like I did, that defibrillator, and there's leads inside my heart, you have a higher chance of getting infected or anything like that. And so it was a really common skin bacteria, and it was some form of staph. It caught onto the leads inside my heart, which is, a bad spot to have an infection.
Oh, yeah.
And it grew to like the size of a ping pong ball before we really knew about it and did anything about it. I ended up going to the hospital because of pneumonia, and that was kind of a side effect of that infection. And so luckily they finally found that, and I was pretty sick at the time. Finally, like February 8th actually was the day I got admitted to the hospital. That was in St. Pete's, and I was there for like 3 days, and then we drove by ambulance to Missoula, St. Pat's. I was there for a few days. We were going to do an open heart surgery like right away to try and take that infection out and do whatever they could.
Yeah, they were going to have to crack your chest and everything.
Yeah, they were going to, which is kind of a pretty invasive procedure,
Yes,
So literally last minute, I was on the gurney and ready to go into surgery, and my doctor had called because he wasn't actually there, and he said that we can do the surgery less invasively in Cleveland Clinic. So like they had me there one more day in Missoula. They life-flighted me to Cleveland, and we were there for a few more days with antibiotics, trying to get the infection down a little bit before they did the surgery, and that's what they did, just lots of antibiotics, and they went in through the right side. They took out that infection. They took out the infected defibrillator. Part of that tricuspid valve actually had been damaged from the infection, so they repaired that with, it's called bovine tissue, which is from a cow, and since then, I've been doing really good. I had 6 weeks of antibiotics in a PICC line, which is kind of a semi-permanent IV. I got that taken out only 2 weeks ago, which is really nice. And I've also been wearing an external defibrillator, which is kind of just a big vest that I wear 24/7, and only because I still have that condition, but not the defibrillator anymore. So right now, we're just awaiting another surgery.
And the vest interfaces with your backpack, is that?
Yeah, I wear this around 24/7, and just because it's got a little computer hooked up to the vest, which it'll monitor my heart rate, it'll monitor if it goes too fast and I need to be shocked, this has all the power to do that.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you've gotten this far. What's coming up in the future that will be further treatment? Sounds like there's a little bit more to do.
Yeah. Well, besides healing. I got like 6 more weeks of they just want to make sure this infection doesn't come back. And so beginning of June, I go back to Cleveland, and that'll be a surgery to put in an internal defibrillator. And besides that, hopefully I don't have any hospital visits except for those 5-year battery changes. So.
Okay, so they're going to replace the internal defibrillator and have you back on track again. So it's been kind of a long haul this year.
Yeah.
And you've been living with this condition for about 5 years that you know about.
Yeah.
Good. And otherwise, you've been able to lead a normal life and go to school. And
really, it hasn't been too much of a problem until I got this infection. It came out of nowhere. But, I mean, it kind of knocked me out for a while.
Well, yeah. We're just glad you're here.
Yeah, I am too. Thanks.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
I'm pleased that you're with us here today, and that we're going to be able to help out with some of your expenses. You know, can you tell us a little bit about what's planned, Pat, to help with those expenses and what's going on at the event?
Well, yeah. You know, the Loston Foundation, as you said, is kind of a grassroots organization. We're made up of musicians since 1995. We've organized these benefit concerts. They've been quite successful. We've raised over $300,000 to help people like Tavi.
Wow.
And we also have some investments and things where we sometimes have some smaller amounts available to help people get into treatment. Sometimes they need help with transportation and things like that. We've also, you know, bought in some medical devices and things for different people. So we try to help out in a lot of other ways. We also try to help other people who are trying to do benefits get organized, and we show them the ropes and try to help them with their events. So, you know, people can go to the Loston Foundation, lostandfoundation.org website and look up what we do and you know, see what else we can help with. But with this event, you know, we are going to have more than 50 musicians donating their time out at the Red Lion Colonial Hotel. And the Red Lion is so generous to host us. And there'll be 18 separate musical acts happening simultaneously on 3 different stages. There will always be 3 different acts in 3 different venues at the Red Lion Colonial happening at the same time. So, you know, if you don't like country western, you can move over to the blues stage or over to the rock and roll stage or the reggae stage. There's going to be a lot of different music. It's going to be really exciting. You know, it's a family kind of event. There's food available. We have kids' activities. Big Sky Bouncers is going to be there with some fun things to play on, and we have games and activities for the younger folks. If they don't want to sit and watch music and dance or whatever. Although I've seen some pretty good kid dancers out there.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll have raffles every hour, 50-50 drawings, and a huge silent auction. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of stuff there, lots of services, trips. There'll be art, jewelry. I understand we have a whole beef that's been donated. Also a custom fit set of golf clubs. They'll actually fit them to you. A lot of great stuff. Well worth coming and seeing.
Yeah.
I know that silent auction has always been a real fine part of the Loston Foundation event, but primarily it focuses around music.
Mm-hmm. It is. You know, Helena is so lucky to have so much musical talent. And, you know, we decided there was so many musicians in one place, it would be fun to get them all together and do a jam. And so we have a 2-hour jam set for 6:15 to 7:45. And our good friend Michael K. Cook, who's one of the local major blues players, a master sax player, he'll be acting as the MC for that, and it's just going to be a blast. I mean, a lot of these musicians haven't had the opportunity to play with each other and And so there's getting a lot of buzz going about just the jam part.
All right.
And then we'll have 18 acts playing, and just about anybody you'd want to see that's a local player is going to be there.
And other local players, if they're interested in the jam session, even though they may not be scheduled to play on one of the other venues, could show up at 6 o'clock or earlier and talk to Michael and hopefully get a little bit of stage time.
Well, yeah, probably the best thing there would be is if they went onto the LostandFoundation.org website and emailed us so that we could forward that to Michael and he can choreograph it in. He's trying to work with the musicians so he knows who's supposed to be on stage when and whatnot. So
yeah,
that would be a good idea.
I've seen him do that before. He does a good job of organizing that sort of thing.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well, tell us about some of the other music that's on tap for this event.
Well, we've got Mojo Review, which is just one of the classiest Delta blues acts that I've ever known. They're great. And Jason DeShaw is going to play, with this full review. And Vintage is going to play. Classic rock. They're just wonderful. I love them.
I've heard of them. Really good.
Yeah, you play keyboards for them.
I do.
The Fat Bachelors will be there. They're old-timey bluegrass kind of stuff. Coexistence, which is a reggae band. John Dendy, Max Hatt and Etta Glass. That's kind of a new jazz group in town. And Big Daddy's Little Girl is going to play, and that is a 7-piece smorgasbord of fun. I mean, they just have a blast. Big Daddy's Little Girl is just...
It's kind of a highlight of the last event that the Lost Foundation had.
Oh, yeah, it's quite a show. And it is a show.
Cool.
The Ersatz Brothers are playing. Victor Daniel is playing. Last Call will be in Martini's Lounge. Agave Blues. Uncharted Waters, which, there are local Grateful Dead aficionados. And Dan Hunthausen and the Traveling Dogs will be playing. And Rocket Uranus, that's Big Sky surf music. It is just too fun. It really is. And touting their new CD, the MSK will be playing in Martini's also.
Oh, the MSK Project. A couple guitars, a handful of harps, I think is the name of their CD.
Yeah.
Well, good. We got quite a range of music coming up there. There's just all the way from jazz to reggae to folk to bluegrass. A bunch of that going on. So it's going to be a great event. Now for Tavi, you have to go back to Cleveland again and have that surgery. And you'll get away from carrying that backpack around all the time.
Finally.
It probably gets a little old.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to plan to do after that? I mean, you have to recover, but what else are you going to be doing?
We only got about 6 to 8 weeks of recovery, and hopefully I'll be able to go back to work. And I'm thinking I want to stay in Helena for a little bit, work, kind of get back on my feet. But I'm thinking next spring and maybe even either next fall, depending on how long it takes. But I definitely want to go back to school, and either to Missoula, where I was a student, or to Seattle, where I lived right before all this happened.
Oh.
So, but I want to go back and finish I was in for graphic design and media arts, and I love that stuff. So.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great field to be in, and be good to get back to school.
Yeah. Oh, I love that stuff.
Well,
another thing that I just remembered that we're going to have at the event, the tribal belly dancers are going to come dance for us.
Oh, yeah.
And they just had an article in the Independent Record. They're just beautiful to watch. They're just so much fun, and they're elegant. Their dance is elegant. Their dress is remarkable, and we're pretty lucky to have something like that in Helena, Montana.
I'm excited to see him.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, people have seen the posters around town, I hope, and also there's been a couple of radio ads going on, and there'll be some radio advertising. We're just trying to get the word out on this.
Yeah.
Can people find some information in next Thursday's your time? A week from today?
Yes, they will have a listing of the bands playing and when they're playing. That's also going to be posted on our Facebook page. So if you look at Lost and Foundation on Facebook, you'll be able to see who's playing when. And you know, if people are interested in donating, you know, they can call the number that will be on the screen. Yeah, right there.
There it is.
You know, and just let us know that you have something to donate or whatever. We'll make arrangements to pick it up or help you find out where to deliver it. Or
always happy to do that. And if you don't have an item for a silent auction or raffle, checks work fine too.
Yeah.
That's always great, just to add to that benefit for Tavi.
Oh, and one other fun thing we're going to have. We're going to have those silicone wristbands.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be bright red. On one side, it'll say, "Fight like a girl."
It's the best kind.
And on the other side, it says, "It's a matter of heart."
Oh, good.
That's cool.
Yeah, we'll look for everybody to be wearing those at the event.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an all-day event, pretty much. Starts at 2 in the afternoon, goes until 10 in the evening on Sunday, April 29th. And anything else that you want to add? I'm just looking forward to all the music and the good times. People show up and they always have a great time.
Mm-hmm. How about we'll just come on out and have some fun Sunday, April 29th at the Red Lion.
That'll be great.
That sounds great.
And we extend once more our thanks to the Red Lion Colonial Hotel for being the host for the event. They've done this for several Lawson Foundation events and just very gracious in helping do all the setup and having the bar open and serving up some food for a real moderate price.
Yeah.
It's a great event.
Yeah, and all the businesses in Helena are just great. They're very generous whenever we come around, and we just want to make sure that everyone gets thanked, and we really appreciate everybody joining in.
Absolutely.
Well, we do too. So the 501 is a charitable foundation, the Lost Foundation, 501c3. So we do know that donations that come to that are tax deductible for folks.
Yes,
we
we make sure that everyone gets a thank you receipt for any donation.
Great. Well, once again, come on out to the Red Lion Colonial Hotel on Sunday, April 29th, starting at 2 in the afternoon, running up until 10 p.m. There's a lot of music. As Pat mentioned, we'll have 18 different acts on 3 different stages going on all day, starting at 2 and until the last person drags out at 10 o'clock.
Should we go through the list one more time, make sure everybody knows who's playing?
Sure, do that.
In the Grand Ballroom stage, Mojo Review, Jason DeShaw, the Tribal Belly Dancers, the Big Jamarama, Vintage. And in the Capitol Room, the Fat Bachelors, Coexistence, John Dendy, Max Hat and Etta Glass, and Big Daddy's Little Girl. Again, that's going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss that one. And in Martini's Lounge, the Erzatz Brothers will be playing, Victor Daniel, Last Call, Agave Blues, which is an acoustic blues group. It's a new group in town. They're authentic stuff. It's very fun to listen to. Uncharted Waters, Rocketeer Anus, Dan Hunthausen and the Traveling Dogs, and the MSK Project.
All right. What a great lineup to have on 3 stages. So we hope that everybody will come out, and I know Tavi will be there dancing up a storm, at least
I'll be there the whole
trying
time.
to, without overexerting.
Her and her little buddy here.
Yeah.
Getting ready
I'll
for that
still
trip
have
to
that.
Cleveland. So when do you go to Cleveland, just in closing?
Beginning of June. I believe my surgery is on the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not too far off.
It's not. It's getting close, and I'm excited for it because it means it's my last step, and I can finally enjoy this year.
Yeah, you're ready
All
to
the
be
way.
done with all this. No doubt.
I've seen the Cleveland Clinic. It's a top-notch facility, so it's great
Oh
that
yeah,
you're able to go there.
definitely.
All right.
All right, well, let's get out there and show Tavi how much Helena cares.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. The event news for the Lawson Foundation. We'll see you on Sunday the 29th.